guys, welcome to Southern Reef. I wanted to do a quick update, there's my powder blue, on my quarantine system. So, done videos in the past, but I kind of wanted to take another shot at it. So this is my 50-gallon, you can see fox face blue powder tang, hippo tang, coal tang, 2 clownfish, and a tiny little royal gamma that's usually hiding. Some PVC fittings, temperature probe, and a Seachem ammonia badge. For those of you that have wanted to know what this is, that center disc, sorry for the shaky camera work, changes color to match the different settings on the side. So you want it to be yellow, but you can see it's starting to turn green, meaning it's getting a little bit high in ammonia and nitrite, so we're going to do a water change. And you can also see all of this detritus on the bottom of the tank. Fish poo, food, sand from buckets when I've done previous water change. All that needs to come out. So we're going to vacuum that out and probably do about a 50% water change. So I have 2 heaters there in the back, 2 old power heads that usually are off, an air stone, and all of that is run over here to this little ADJ power strip. I love that thing. So let's get started. I'm going to do another video later on planning ahead in all the ways that served me well. Today is just another case in point. So I ran a airline tube over there through the basement ceiling to where I make my RODI water directly from the filter. So this tube here I have come over and it runs into this can in the back for RO water, which I then pump in here, which is salt. I have a pump in the salt water and a little pump in the fresh. And then the lids have holes at the top, so I can just run a tube through there. So there's no lugging of water back and forth when I need to do a water change. I just turn around, vacuum out the sump, vacuum out the display, or rather frag tank, and if I need to, I can just go right there and clean the main tank. So I had already filled this main tank in the back with RO, transferred it in here, tested this, and right now I just have just 2 sort of, I don't even know the brand, generic power heads in there, or pumps, and a Neotherm 200 watt heater. This thing is a beast. It's going to go right back in the main display. But so I'm getting that all done. It's been mixing for about 24 hours, so it's had a good chance to thoroughly mix and temperature acclimate and get aerated and all that good stuff. So we're about ready to go. So we're going to keep this covered for right now, and we're going to go drain the quarantine tank. So I mentioned doing a video about planning ahead, just getting better about storage. I have storage, my dehumidifier, salt, box of equipment, tools, testing equipment, chemicals for dosing. Down here we have spare dry rock, plumbing parts, more plumbing parts, what will be a quarantine tank, and then in the back all my testing and measurement, and up here I have all my equipment, chemicals again for dosing. So I was fortunate enough to have this extra room, but down here is where I end up with my 4 or 5 gallon buckets and my hose and then my stool. So one thing to keep in mind, this tank has copper, or more specifically cupramine in it, and we've talked about that before. This stuff, all that means is that all the equipment that's in there cannot be used anywhere in my main display, because it would kill coral and invertebrates, which is snails and hermits and my coral banded shrimp. So I want to make sure that any equipment that I do use stays on this side of the room. That's the rule. Obviously the stool doesn't matter, but all the rest of it. These I drain the main display with, but nothing ever goes in there and then back into that main tank. Something important to remember. So let me get set up and start vacuuming the tank. So here we are about halfway through. You can see how clean the bottom is compared to what it looked like before. To give you an idea, I took out about 30 gallons, a little over half. So there's about 20 gallons still in there. Just restacked the buckets, but look at this. It's not really coming through in this photo, but the water is grimy. Not a lot. I mean, some of that sand is from the tank, some of it's just from the bucket, from when I did use it to siphon the main display, but it's not coming through in the photo. That water is pretty nasty, greenish. So we're going to go ahead and start filling this thing back up, and I'll jump in halfway through that so I can show you the cupramine. this is exactly how much water I had left after filling up 6 of those buckets. And I actually really like getting that close because now I know exactly how far I can push it. I kind of just get close to the line every time. So 6 5-gallon buckets is equivalent to a small brute trash can. This puts me in a bad spot in one way though, because I don't have a whole lot of RO water. And so if my auto top off needed filling, all of that would basically be gone. And with none made and no salt water, if I had a problem over there or over there, I'd be pretty well screwed. So right now, I'm going to come over here, take this line out, right over here. So that's about the flow that I'm getting from here. Lid on. Snake that back down so it's nice and quiet and I don't hear that drip. And voila, there we go. So I'm always a big fan of putting away everything right when I'm done with it so I don't have a mess later. So the lid goes back on, and I still have my vinegar bucket. I was cleaning off other equipment like this power head. I'm not convinced that I'm done just yet. I might actually take that skimmer right there and run that in here for a minute. Just go ahead and clean that sucker off too. So that's it for this stuff. Let's jump over to the quarantine tank. So I'm using the Seachem Copper test kit here, and this is one of the things that I always had a hard time with. Reading this dang test. It's kind of hard to do with one hand, but you're supposed to look right through the blue there and compare that blue to the blue on the card, and you know, depending on how I hold it and where the light is, it's like a neon blue versus a matte blue. And you know, you can guess, but when 0.5 is you know, right where you want to be or maybe a little low, and 1 is gonna kill the fish, not an easy bet. Now I've heard that you can go over 1. I've heard that 0.5 is not strong enough. My own experience is using cupramine at around 0.5 or 0.75, which is the dosing according to the container. I did that for 3 months and did not kill all the ick. It was still showing up on my hippo tang. I've talked about it in other videos. So aiming for closer to 1. But you just can't read this. I mean, it, you know, like right there, it looks kind of light, but if you turn it anyway. So anyway, this is where I'm at. So it tells you to measure at 10 minutes and then again at 20 minutes and take the darker of the 2 readings. So that's what we're going to do. And we'll go from there. So when I dumped the buckets in it, it shot all the PVC piping to one corner and terrified all of my poor fish. The Royal Gamma, for all intents and purposes, has disappeared. Just shoved under one of these pipes. There he is. Anyway, believe it or not, I just did the water change, and this is how much junk was still coming from those buckets. It pisses me off. I should have just gotten brand new buckets, and then I wouldn't have this problem, but I didn't do that. Spent money on all this other crap and never bothered with clean buckets. But you know, for what it's worth, the filter will pick up some of it, and my filter really is actually nothing to it. See a bent over sponge in here. There's another sponge down there, but that's it. No carbon, anything else. Filter floss, just those sponges, and that's it. But we'll give this a little bit of time to reset. You can already see it starting to get back to yellow, and that'll do us for about a week or so, and I'll put that down. All right, guys. Thanks for tuning in. See you next time.